that, I wanted to welcome everyone again who just joined. Since the start of ITDP's Cycling Cities campaign, we have been deploying best practices from campaign's cohort cities. We have looked into tools and examples for scaling up cycling infrastructure to inspire other cities worldwide. With this session, we are particularly very excited. We are celebrating a 2-year anniversary of the campaign, and we are bringing more stories from 3 very different cities. We'll welcome panelists from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Buenos Aires, Argentina, and Pimpri Chinchwad, India, to talk about their unique approaches to promoting cycling. My colleague Dana Yanoka, who is the campaign manager, will first share a little bit about the campaign and the 2-year milestone. We also have the pleasure to welcome Nicolás Estupiñan, the director of the Directorate of Sectoral Analysis at CAF, Development Bank of Latin America, to moderate the session. Nicolás has a rich background in sustainable urban mobility, and he is a former Secretary of Mobility for the city of Bogota. We are very eager to have him moderate today's discussion. So now about the panel. The panel will include Eugenia Weber, Chief of Staff at the Secretariat of Transport and Public Works for the government of the city of Buenos Aires. She will share key highlights from the city stemming from the newest Sustainable Mobility Plan. We're also hoping that Fetia is able to join us. We're still waiting for Fetia. Fetia Dergeba, the Deputy CEO from Road Safety and Insurance Fund Service for the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. He will be bringing experience of implementing the NMT strategy in Addis Ababa. And finally, we'll hear from Bapu Gaikwad, who is the executive engineer at the Pimpri Chinchwad Municipal Corporation. He will share about the neighborhood planning approach to cycling in Pimpri Chinchwad. So with this introduction, I just wanted to cue in a celebratory video actually for us all to kick this panel. So give me a moment to pull it up for you. Apologies, everyone. Let me do it again. I hope this was inspirational, and yeah, I hope many cities already joined us for the ride, but also will. So with that, I'll just hand it off to Dana.
Great, thanks so much, Ivona, and thanks to everyone for joining today. It's so great to see so many familiar names and some new ones as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dana Yanoka. I am managing the Cycling Cities campaign, and I'm really honored to be here today to celebrate what has been 2 really important years of ambitious work elevating everyday cycling through the Cycling Cities campaign. As I'm sure many of you have experienced on the streets of your own cities, sustainable transportation continues to serve many of the trips we take every day. As high-quality infrastructure, policies, and investments improve access and affordability, cities are taking walking, cycling, and public transportation more seriously than ever before. The Cycling Cities campaign focuses specifically on cycling, advocating for policy changes and infrastructure improvements that make our streets safer for people on bicycles. You saw in the video that we have 34 cohort cities from 18 countries across 6 continents. And we have more than 45 partner organizations all working together towards our campaign goal, which is to have 25 million more people near safe cycle lanes by 2025. Since the campaign launched in 2021, our cohort cities have built more than 400 kilometers of protected cycle lanes, with plans to build about 1,000 more kilometers by the end of 2025. But Cycling Cities isn't solely focused on infrastructure. Our cohort cities have hosted over 1,000 open streets events and held more than 350 learn to ride classes to encourage people to try cycling. 25 of our cohort cities offer bike share programs for residents and visitors, further encouraging people to leave their cars at home and embrace cycling for more trips. The Cycling Cities cohort also demonstrates the demand for cycling is real, and cities around the world do want to position cycling as a tool to address complex urban challenges like rising emissions, poor air quality, and unsafe streets. It's important to elevate this demand in global transport venues, such as the upcoming COP Climate Conference at the end of this month. As we look to next year and beyond, the Cycling Cities campaign will continue to inspire change, empowering cities to reimagine their transportation systems and foster a greener, healthier, and more vibrant future. Together, we will work towards a world where cycling is not just an option, but a way of life, benefiting our families, our communities, and the planet. We at ITDP are excited to pedal forward toward this brighter, more sustainable future, and we hope you'll join us if you haven't already. You can do that by signing the pledge on our website or accessing our Mastering the Cycling City self-guided course. So now I'd like to welcome to the virtual stage our panel and our moderator for today's discussion, who will kick off the conversation with a few framing thoughts. So I'll turn it over to you, Nicolás. Thank you.
Dana, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the Friends of ITDP for this invitation. It's really a pleasure to be here and talking with you about all these challenges and all this successful experience that we have. What's fascinating and striking for me is how successful cycling cities have been into proving and demonstrating that they are a key solution to the major challenges that we have. As a society, as a humankind, when we think about the size of the task that we have, when we think about decarbonizing transport, the speed that we need to have, the acceleration on all the different actions that we need to take, cycling cities are a very profound response to decarbonizing transport and the speed and the pace that we need to have. When we think about gender inclusion, when we think about gender equity, cycling cities are more prepared to provide more accessibility, more connectivity, to provide better access to formal jobs for women. When we think about economic prosperity, when we think about building cities that are more just, when we think about redistributing wealth and creating more egalitarian societies, then redistributing public spaces, then providing better infrastructure for cyclists, then again, cycling cities is a profound response. And even when we don't think about those challenges, And we have situations such as COVID-19, totally unexpected, took us all by surprise. We were not thinking about what we would do. And let me stop here for a couple of minutes and share with you some highlights in this experience. And perhaps Eugenia and Bapu can also share some of their experiences during the pandemic times. February, March 2020, we were receiving the worst news from around the world. Spain, Italy, we were having the worst news and the worst figures. And we are like assimilating and understanding that we are going to have to deal with this, that this is coming and there's no way out, and it's coming hard and it's coming fast. And we start looking around each other. We started talking with Buenos Aires, with Mexico, Rio, and it was like, we have no idea what to do. So what do we expect to do? We start looking back in time and trying to look for the previous time that we had that event and that success. What were like the measures and the actions taken? Well, there was no information there. There was no previous record of having that experience and that situation. So basically, we would have to improvise and innovate. And cycling cities were more prepared to respond quicker and in a more profound way. I don't have to say it, but you all know that Bogota has a long tradition of being a cycling city. We just celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Ciclovia, this dominical thing that we have since 1973, I think it was. So March 16 of 2020, we were able to launch overnight 20 kilometers of pop-up bike lanes. Bogota was the first city in the world to launch this solution. And it was able to do it overnight because it was a cycling city. It is a cycling city. It is a city that has always put the focus on bike as a transportation solution, as a lifestyle. And from March 16th to March 17th, we were able to expand from 20 kilometers to 120 because we have the institutionality, we have the people, we had the operations, we knew the logistics, and people were prepared and the demand was there. Public transportation was not a good idea at that time. We had little information. We had no information whatsoever. So the only way we had was we were sitting with the mayor and we said, okay, we have the corridors. We have this fantastic city that always has responded to these challenges. People in Bogota love to bike. Let's do it. Go ahead and do it. So that's kind of the final message that I wanted to leave here. Cycling cities are better prepared to address the foremost challenges that we have as humankind, as a society. And innovation is a key component here, and innovation comes along with making mistakes. In order to make things that have never been made before, you are gonna make mistakes. So innovation comes along with making mistakes and is part of the iteration process. You're not gonna get it right at the beginning. It all makes part of this construction of more sustainable solutions. So that's it with my introduction, Dana. Should we start with the panelists?
Sure, yeah, let's kick it off.
Okay, great. So it's a pleasure for me to have these very interesting cities. They have been very innovative. They have been very bold in the solutions that they have been presenting. I would just want to ask, what is like the biggest challenge implementing bicycling solutions in creating cycling cities for your cities? Should we?
Okay. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hello, Nicolás and all the team from ITDP. Thank you for the invitation and thank you, Nicolás, for the introduction. It's okay. Bapu, do you want to start or do you want me to?
Go ahead. Please continue. Please continue.
Okay, great. Well, what about our biggest challenge? Well, you know that we are ending a period of 16 years in the management of the city of Buenos Aires, and we could work with long-term public policies. So first of all, our biggest challenges was to have this political decision to work with sustainable mobility, because to work with long-term public policies and to achieve a cultural change in the way we move in the city of Buenos Aires was the most important thing that we achieved during this decade. And we have a comprehensive vision of mobility. For us, mobility is a central element in the development of the city, and it's not an isolated aspect. We have a sustainable mobility plan based on the promotion of clean transportation. Of course, public and mass passenger transportation, but also active mobility, such as biking and walking. And as you said, Nicolás, it was very important for us to be a sustainable mobility city and to count with bike lanes when pandemic arrives, because that allows us to continue with our job and to invest more in infrastructure. So we have this sustainable mobility plan, and we could work during these years with different axes, let's say, of this mobility plan. And we have a prepared city, which means that we made a huge investment in infrastructure, removing urban barriers and isolate the public transport from congestion. But also we have a closed city, which means that we promote this mobility, this sustainable mobility mean of transport. So we built more than 300 kilometers of bike lanes. So we are younger than you, Bogota, and we have less kilometers, but for us, that was very important to have these kilometers when pandemic arrives. Other challenges that we have was regarding financing. So financing public policies, that's very important, because sometimes we have the political decisions, but in context with crises like this one that we are living now in Latin America, but most of all in Argentina, financing is very important. And other challenge that we have is, I don't know if you heard about this NIMBY movement, not in my backyard. We have to work with the user experience, with the organization, with the different users, but with the neighbors in the city, because all the neighbors like the bike and like the bike lanes and support our mobility policy, but not all of them want the bike lanes in front of their houses. So they support our policy, but they don't want it in their neighbors, because sometimes they prefer the car. So that was the biggest challenge for us, to work with the user experience. But that's why we work with all of them. And of course, the cultural change that nowadays people use the bike as a means of transport. Some years ago, it was unthinkable. And nowadays, we know that in the city of Buenos Aires, we can use the bicycle as a means of transport, not only buses, not only subway, but we have also this means of transport. So for us in the city of Buenos Aires, the biggest challenge are regarding that: financing, political decisions, and user acceptance. And of course, the investment in infrastructure.
Great, Eugenia. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure hearing from Buenos Aires.
I just wanted to mention that Fatia from Addis Ababa is here with us. So Fatia, I just wanted to add you to the group here if you want to come on video. Thank you so much. Whenever you can. We'll wait for Fatia, but we
So
can
while
carry
Fatia
on.
is getting ready,
I'm
should we
here.
go with Bapu? Can you
Good
share the
afternoon,
experience?
everyone.
Hi,
Good
Fatia.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Are you able to come on video?
If you want to see me, my picture, you can
So you
open the video if you
but
like. If you
yes,
like.
we prefer seeing you. That would be wonderful. Can you come on video?
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
You're welcome. Okay.
We don't see you yet. Did you turn on the video?
Yeah, I'm trying to open it, but the Zoom is unable to detect a camera, it says.
Oh,
That the
okay.
camera is okay.
Apologies for that. Well, it's all good. We can carry on, but we'll remember you are here, so we can include you as well
Okay.
in this discussion.
Okay. So shall I start about the challenge or?
Sure. I think maybe we lost Nicolás. Hi, Nicolás. Can we pass it on to Fatia? I guess she's ready to respond. Go ahead, Fatia.
Okay. Regarding the challenge.
Sure, great.
Okay. As I mentioned last time, on I think a Monday meeting, I have tried to mention some of the points at national level and the Addis Ababa level. As I said last time, we have the NMT, the national NMT strategy, and we have the city level strategy in Addis Ababa. And we are trying to, introduce this strategy at national level. And we are trying to do different promotion activities at national level for the community at large. Of course, the biking in Ethiopia is not a new culture. Most of the people are using, especially in the rural areas, they used to ride as a means of transport. As I mentioned last time, when you go to Batu city, people, older people, young people, students are using this transportation as a means of transportation. And in order to stay this transportation on that city, even as an institution in our lead agency construct a bike lane, and it's almost have finalized the bike lane on that city, on that specific city, because there is a culture of using this transportation as a means of transport. So around 5.2 kilometers in each side. It's amazing that the old people, the female, the young people, students are using on the same road that the other transport roads are using. They share the road, the trunk road of the city. So accidents has happened on that city, so that we have studied the accident rate, and we have planned the last summer in Ethiopian calendar, and almost it is finalized. So our initiative to expand such kind of transportation in our country is very much critical, and it's a political agenda, as I mentioned, starting from the Prime Minister they are trying to build different cycle lane infrastructure in different tourism areas. Like there are two tourism areas that is emerging in our country in different regions. On that tourism centers, the Prime Minister are focusing on building the walkway and the cycle lane. In addition, as I mentioned last time, there is an Intoto Park. It is designed for cyclists and walkway on the whole tourism area. And in addition to that, there are different parks. That was the initiative of our Prime Minister, also included the walkway and the cycle lane. And in the main road, we tried to include the cycle lane and the bike lane. After 2020, there are an increasing trend, especially in the walkway, re-innovate and rebuild the Addis Ababa walkways. We try to keep the standard based on the NACTO street design manual. We are using and giving training the NACTO street design manual. So it has an increasing trend on the cycle lane and the walkways. We are trying to keep the standard, the international standard for the walkway and the cycle path has to be maintained. And recently we have also received a national street design guide from ITDP. Thank you so much for your support. So we will formally launch this national street design guideline and web-based. It's a kind of web-based manual. So we have already discussed with the concerned bodies about this national street design manual with Ethiopian Roads Authority, with Urban Construction and Development Ministry. The higher officials also accepted this street design manual. So when we use this manual at national level, it will make a same kind of the harmonized kind of street design will be will see on the ground. So it will help us much more. And thank you very much for the ITDP for helping in this area. The challenge that we have last time I have mentioned different challenge is still we have a gap in especially the political leaders are not stable on the area that they are assigned. There are reshuffling. Because of that, we need to have training when the new leaders are coming to the position. We need to have continuous training. And still, we need to have changes, especially in the engineers, which are graduating from university have to have the knowledge about what inclusive road infrastructure means. They have to know. Most of the time, they know the mentality. The focus of the curriculum is more of the highway kind of road construction, especially the engineers. So we need to work on that area. And even if some areas community have the culture of using bicycle, there are also other regions or some regions which seen this kind of transportation is a kind of bad culture because of their living style, because of their culture that the community has. They will not accept, especially as I mentioned, the females. It's a kind of shame when you are riding a bicycle. When you come to Addis, most of the bicycle riders are male. There is we can say there is no female which rides a bicycle. So we need to have a culture change, but there is an association which is working on the female side, the informal association, the private association, the groups. There are groups, by the way, there are groups which promote the cycling transportation. It's not only in Addis, but other regions, there are the bicycle uses association and the bicycle group association. Such kind of association is here and there. So we need to organize this association in order to increase the number of the bicycle that they have to drive for the future. So, as I mentioned, our national policy concerned on the modal shift of public transport as well as NMT transportation. So, as I mentioned, our national strategy launched before 4 years ago. It is prepared by UN Habitat and ITDP. But for the last 4 years, what was the change? We don't know about the change. So we need to review how we were going after the launching of this strategy. What is the result? What results are came, and what are the challenges? We need to review and see the result and the challenge and the outcome. So in order to do this, we have, as I said, that we have signed an agreement, an MOU with one of our local university, Juma University. They have an interest to see how this NMT strategy applied in our country and what was the result. They want to study the outcome of this strategy. So they approach us. So we need to initiate this approach and start I mean the research for the strategy. And one of the biggest challenge that we have is we want to construct many walkways, and we want to connect. The connectivity issue is one of the big challenge in our country. The roads that we have constructed, especially in the main road, is not connected with other modal transportation, and shifting from bicycle to other transportation will not happen in the city level as well as in the country level. Of course, the Batu city makes some kind of it makes some sense of that connectivity, but in Addis we have left the connectivity issue. As I mentioned, we have studied to connect with other modal transportation,
But
so that people can use.
Let's leave more for the other detailed question. Let's move into the next panelist. Is that okay?
Yeah. Thank you. I already mentioned
Perfect.
every point. Thank you so much for listening.
Babu, so before we continue with the discussion, let's hear from your experience, please, and the challenges you have faced.
Thank you, Nicolás. And good evening, good morning to all of panelists and who joined this webinar. my city has comprehensive mobility plan. We have prepared it in 2008, long back, more than 10-15 years. The mobility plan consisted of developing DRPS network in our city, which had bus transport since from city's initiation long back, 40 years back. This is a new township beside Pune city, which was based on industrial background actually. Many more automobile players are there in our city, and people migrated to this city from the country itself. Every state people came for their jobs here and settled here. So the mobility came up with inception of municipal corporation itself in 1982. So we have bus transport, urban bus transport in our city, which are communicating to the parent city of Pune also, and they have their own bus transport called Pune Municipal Transport Bus Company, and these two companies were competing each other. After this 2006, national government here in India have National Urban Transport Policy, which is very good document as such for the cities. As one of our panelists mentioned that the learning to the engineers in universities and colleges was regarding connecting highways from one city to one other city, one village to other village by village roads, and such connectivity was taught during their curriculum. So engineers do not have vision regarding the urban streets. What are urban needs of the urban population? So this insight was not there. So Government of India published a good comprehensive policy, that is National Urban Transport Policy, and during that we got first chance to introduce urban mobility and to have a comprehensive mobility plan for our city. So there were some missing links. The roads were not connected by the same ROW for certain length, say 10 kilometers or more than that. Somewhere it was missing. So we prepared urban mobility plan, that is comprehensive mobility plan, bus-based comprehensive mobility plan, in which cycling and pedestrian infrastructure was also considered. So it was for about 110 kilometers road length within our city. That was sanctioned by Union government, our local government, and put forth for implementation. Since then, we thought, what else shall be done? And ITDP comes to help our city government in the form of comprehensive mobility plan to be implemented for bus rapid transit system and allied NMT infrastructure for the city. But at that time, being discussed here that engineers do not have insight regarding the actual usage of roads, what are users on roads. They just assumed that only motor vehicles are the road users. So this was great challenge to us, that our engineers should have insight that there are many more users of urban streets. So we defined in other way that urban road is different than the highway road or village road. So connectivity in the form of public transport, non-motorized transport, and basic pedestrian pathways along the roadside. This was given insight to our engineers with the help of ITDP, and then recently we started in 2018 that urban streetscape roads shall have proper NMT infrastructure like that of motor vehicle pathways. So pedestrian pathways should have continued undisturbed pathways. At the same time, those shall be separated from automobile traffic. At the same time, cycling infrastructure, if you want to have cyclists on your road, you should give cycle lanes, bike lanes for them so that they should not maneuver in between the automobiles. So this thought was given by one of our commissioner, Honorable Hardikar. He was a cyclist and he introduced this at some roads. We took 5 stretches of the roads having length of about 20 kilometers, on which cycling and pedestrian was tested before going for a comprehensive plan of NMT. Then came COVID. So the things were stopped again. After COVID, Government of India floated some challenges with the help of ITDP again, that cycle for change, then streets for people, then neighborhood development and public transport challenges. In all these 4-5 challenges at Union government, Pimpri-Chinchwad participated in all these and got chance to introduce cycling again to the city. After COVID, we found that cycle sale is going up, but cyclists are not seen on the road. So we found that there is some missing link, like our roads, as I mentioned earlier. The missing link is infrastructure for non-motorized, proper infrastructure for non-motorized kind of thing. Then thought came forward that why should we wait for somebody to take ahead? Municipal government should take it ahead and form a non-motorized transport policy for the city, at least for the city itself. Again, ITDP came to help us in this regard, and we have formulated non-motorized transport policy for Pimpri-Chinchwad in 2022. Since then, we started implementing neighborhood projects of NMT kind of thing, continuous footpaths and dedicated cycle lanes for our area. So this is not sufficient for developing 1 or 2 neighborhoods. Then thought came forward that we should have, like comprehensive mobility plan, we should have plan for city non-motorized network. Then Harit Setu means gap bridging kind of thing for developing NMT network. We have studied neighborhood by neighborhood, what are the things where public are gathering and how they make their trips from their residences or offices to these public places. So we found that every trip in our city is either by scooter or by car. Most of the trips were by scooters, 2-wheelers. So thought came forward, why not to give their NMT infrastructure such that shorter trips. If we analyze trip pattern of the city, we have public transport share of about 18%.
Papu, I'm
And-
sorry to interrupt you. I think we can dive into the neighborhood level model, which is, I think, super interesting. Maybe that's like the follow-up question. How about we kind of pivot to the next question round?
Yeah, we have challenges in the form of parking and funding of the project. So we have budgeted it throughout our corporation budget, but chunk of budget is very small. So for scaling up this neighborhood project to the city level, we require large funding, and we are in search of international funding or some national funding resources. But at the same time, we have to formulate like NMT policy. We should have parking policy, proper parking policy, because our roads are flooded with parked cars and two-wheelers. This is a great challenge to us. Unlike other cities, all other local government, we have again political challenges too, where we are constructing an NMT network. The political leaders or political groups are coming forward to oppose it, as they are having mindset of automobile friendly. So these are the 2-3 challenges in front of people as well.
Bapu, thank you very much. It's fascinating, that experience. I wanted to go with Eugenia and Fataya in short answers, 1-minute answers. Eugenia, you mentioned political continuity. That's a major challenge. Making sure that all these great practices can continue over time. What can you tell us a little bit about that? And Fataya, you mentioned road safety and personal safety as we increase figures in transportation, in sustainable transportation and in cycling, become a major challenge. So Eugenia, political continuity, and Fataya, road safety, personal safety. 1-minute answers, please.
Yeah, starting now. Great, thank you. So how do we get to our new 2030 mobility plan? Because nowadays we have a new one, a new mobility plan. So we live in a very unsustainable context, and transportation planning in such a large city has to be a balance, or it becomes a balance between data analysis and social dynamics. So this long-term plan is very important for us, because we have to ensure that we can move efficiently and safely in the city. We have to guarantee this sustainable transportation and a resilient infrastructure. So our plan generates a framework based on some axes, like for us, mobility is sustainable, is accessible, is metropolitan, is safe, and is personalized. So this framework works with programs, and it guides the mobility policy in the city for the next year. That's why we build this new 2030 sustainable mobility plan for the next years, and for the next administration that is going to start next month. So we hope that our plan can continue.
Great, Eugenia, thanks. Fataya, how can we have a few remarks on safety? Fataya?
Safety, about safety?
Yes, please.
Okay. Regarding safety, as I mentioned, it is a critical challenge for especially pedestrian and walking cyclists. So in order to bring the changes, we are trying to make our road design to reconstruct those areas which are more affected by pedestrian and cyclists, especially some cities in our country doesn't have access for pedestrian and cyclists, especially for pedestrians. We are trying to re-innovate and rebuild some areas, and we are trying to keep the standard for walkways. Like, for example, I can mention in Addis Ababa, most of the areas were not comfortable for pedestrians. Because of this reason, many accidents has happened because of access to pedestrians. And also there are some cities like Directorate, Hawassa, Adama. It's not comfortable and suitable for pedestrians. So we make changes on that areas, and there is no even enough space for cyclists. They still share the roads for vehicles. There is no enough dedicated lane for cyclists. So because of this, accidents will happen for these groups. In our road safety strategy, we have indicated such kind of sustainable transportation and inclusive road access to pedestrian and cyclists. We are trying to indicate, and we are trying to make some changes on regulations, and we are trying to coordinate with this departments or government organizations. We are trying to do with these organizations. So we are very much concerned on this. Victim people, especially when we are doing road safety activities.
Yes, it's a major concern, Pataya. Thank you very much. Ivana, if you are okay, could we take some questions from the crowd?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think we have that much time, but I could grab one question. There are usually concerns regarding opposition to cycling. It's pretty common once there's a movement to expand safe cycling lanes. So I guess questions to all, including Dana, also if you recall interesting examples or tactics that the cycling cities have been doing in terms of dealing with the opposition for cycling, whether it's coming from the private industry or the car related industry. So can you share any tactics?
Yeah, maybe just to jump in on that point, we hear a lot, especially from the cities that we're working closely with, about backlash from residents, but also from local businesses in some cases, who are concerned that perhaps removing parking and using that space for cycle infrastructure could impact their profitability. And I think in these cases, we found that data can be really helpful in making the case and really showing different stakeholder groups that that there is data to support that people riding bikes do actually spend more at local businesses than car drivers because they're taking more trips and can carry less at a time. And so we have this data in a lot of different places, and I think that can help to create that argument and help to quell some of that backlash. But interested to hear from Henya and Bapu and Fetia, what you've done to kind of share that message with different stakeholders.
Yeah, data is so important, but we also carry out actions with the community to promote active mobility. So we teach how to ride a bike, and we have these actions with adults and with children, but most important with adults, because children is easier because they learn from the beginning how to ride a bicycle and the importance of the problem with climate change, because in schools that's an issue, but adults are like the heaviest for work. So we work with them, and we work with awareness and with road education, but we also hold many meetings with neighbors, with users, with cyclists, and we show them the project, and we adapt the project to their needs and their requirements. And for example, if they have a parking space for this disabled, because that's a problem sometimes, we work with them to adapt the project. So that's important to talk with them and to show them the project, and to show them that will be something good for the whole community.
Bapu, do you have some comments about methods and tactics of communicating and conveying the benefits of cycling to different sectors?
Yeah, we have started this Harit Setu project, and we have conducted several top stakeholder consultations among the citizens, enforcing agencies, school and college going students, the parents, and school and college organizers. They have demanded that if we are given good network of NMT kind of thing, charter trips up to 3 kilometers can be converted into non-motorized kind of thing. Students can walk to school within 500 to 1.5 kilometers. If it is more than that, the people demanded that we should have cycle paths as well to reach to the school or to the public places like parks, gardens, and some transportation nodes like railway station, metro station, or bus stands. So these are the demands from the people in their consultations, and we are incorporating those suggestions in our design plans for Harit Setu project, which is NMT friendly project. And if once we demonstrate in one neighborhood, then we will take up it to the city level, scale up it to the city level.
Thank you. That's a great example, actually, about the scale-up strategies and demonstration projects. And Fetia, the same for you. And I think with that, we'll probably wrap up. Hi, Fetia.
Yeah. Regarding changing the mindset of the people, is that what you?
Yes, correct.
Address? Of course, in the long run, we have a plan to add in the school curriculum. There is a sport subject matter in the school program. So in the sport program, we want to add this riding a bicycle in a school. We want to make this one of the initiatives in school to train and to practice, starting from kids from school, because in the future we have a plan to change the modal shift of using this sustainable transport, especially in rural areas, most of kids walk using their foot to go to school. So instead of walking, it's better to use bicycle. So we want to add this as an initiative in the school curriculum. And additionally, we are trying to use the mass media through different broadcast media. We want to make an awareness for the public. Of course, there are changes. Even in Addis, nowadays, they are starting to use this kind of transportation for as a job opportunity to take some materials from somewhere to other places. They are doing such kind of things in the city level, carrying different materials and distributing different materials for these different customers. They use such kind of transportation. So this is also this shows also there is a change in using this transportation as a means of addressing different materials for different customers and people. So this is also one of the job creation opportunity for the users. And,
thanks, Fatia.
For the future, we have a plan to promote and to train different people, communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fatia. I like how you addressed actually how this is how cycling is means to promote different economic functions in the city. So promoting it as a form of movement, but also delivery form. So yeah, that's very interesting. So with that, unfortunately, we quickly actually run out of time. We went over time. I really wanted to thank the entire panel, of course, Bapu, Fatia, Eugenia, and Nicolás and Dana for moderating the session. Congrats all, again, all cohort cities in the Cycling Cities campaign. Looking to hear more successes and inspiring stories. My colleague actually dropped some links in the chat with the video that we saw earlier in the beginning. So feel free to post it on your social media and give us a shout out. And I also shared a link to the upcoming webinar in a week if you want to hear more about what we are doing and what our partners are doing in terms of promoting sustainable transportation. So again, big thank you and congratulations. See you soon, everyone.
Thanks everyone so much. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.